Hi there, welcome to Elm Colors. I'm Erica. On today's video, we're going to be starting a color along. I'm hoping to get this done in one video, but it might be two, so we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I'm excited to start the color along. So this is hopefully going to be the first of many Johanna Basford color alongs throughout the year. I'm hoping to get one done in each of her books. And yeah, I think it's going to be a really fun year of color alongs. So we're going to start with one in Johanna's Christmas. And I decided on this rabbit page. This one wasn't too Christmassy, and I have wanted to color this page for a really long time. And I'm going to try. So you can see at the top here, I've got a little bit of a mess going, but I can clean that up with, some paint pens, no problem. And then I have drawn a little bit of a horizon line. I don't know if you'll be able to really see that, but just a little bit of one just to kind of give me an idea of where my bunny is. And then this is my color palette. I found this image and just fell in love with the colors. I thought that it was just a really interesting palette for winter. So we're going to try this, and then I have a collection of bunnies to choose from. I do not know which one I want to go with yet. But yeah, we're gonna play with that too. So I'm going to be using an array of supplies. So anything that I can use to make this go faster, that's what I'm going to be using today. So I'm going to be using a mix of chalk pastel, water-based markers, and then pencils. Probably those will be my top three. And then of course stickles at the end, because I cannot resist my stickles. So yeah, so we're just going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to grab the supplies and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so we're going to start with the background, because that is my favorite place to start. And I'm going to be using my Mungyo soft pastels. These are value brand chalk pastel that you can use, and I love them. We're going to be mixing some colors today because I want to try to get something close to this really light pink. I just really love how soft that looks. And so like in this set, I don't really have anything that will match that exactly, but I have this like neon pink color, and then I also have like a peachy color. I feel like if I blend the two of them, that it should get me something close to that. And I also have this cotton pad that I've been using, so we might just use this one and see what kind of... Now I'll start fresh, just so that you, like, if you're starting fresh at home, that way we'll get closer to the same results. We'll try that. Okay, so I'm going to start with this peachy color. Now you probably won't see a lot of this because it's going to be very, very light. But we shall try. We shall try. Okay, I'm going to move this out of the way a little bit. So when I do this, I take the cotton pad, I fold it in quarters. So I put my finger in the center, fold it in half, and then fold it again. So I have that nice tip that I can use to blend with. And then I just get a bunch of chalk on my cotton pad. And then I use light circular motions. I don't push hard on the first few layers. And I'm just going to add that in. We're just going to go over everything. Don't worry if you go over top of anything, because we can erase that with an electric eraser or any kind of eraser really. But I find the electric ones work really well. And I'm just going inside the circle here. I want pretty solid coverage inside of this circle. Okay, so I've got a good layer of that color. I'm going to set that aside for a second. I'm going to grab this neon pink. I'm going to use the same place that I was using with the peach and just pick up some of this neon pink right on top of that peach and start adding that in. See how much brighter that looks, but hopefully we can kind of adjust it a little bit so that it's not quite so in your face. Maybe I shouldn't have done the neon. Maybe I should have done the other pink, but it's definitely not going to be the solid pink that that other one was, but that one was also very, a very kind of graphic art kind of image, and I don't have that capability. I could use my alcohol markers. I'm sure that I have something, and we will be using a little bit of alcohol markers on this image, but I think it'll be okay. Okay, so I did a little bit more peach over top. I'm gonna grab I'm gonna change my cotton pad a little bit. I'm gonna grab this light pink that I have and see what that does to it. Yeah, that was probably the pink I should have used the first time, but that's okay. Like I said, this is an experiment, and we're just gonna be playing and see how we do. I just wanted a nice pink background. Okay, so there's a light pink, and then one more color. This is gonna sound crazy. I'm gonna use this like faded yellow, this really light yellow. And again, just go right over the top of the colors that I already have down. Not pushing hard, I'm just kind of adding that into the mix. The nice thing about the chalk pastels I've found is that they just kind of really layer nicely on top of one another. Yeah, I like that a lot. Okay, so that was 4 different colors that we used. So we've got that neon pink, a peach, a light yellow, and the other light pink. And that's kind of the result. So then I'm going to come through with my electric eraser, which of course is upstairs. Of course it is. It's upstairs. So I'm going to have to go grab that. I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm going to use my electric eraser just to clean up all the edges. So anywhere where I've gotten chalk pastel that I don't want it, I'm just going to come through with my electric eraser and clean that up. Okay, we got all of that done. I think that turned out really nice. Quick and easy background, which we'll probably add on top of a little bit later on, but at least that main part is done. Okay, so we're going to move on to some of the marker work. I have a collection of water-based and alcohol markers off to the side here. So I'm just going to grab them as I go. So I'm going to be using the Tombow 977 brown. I'm going to be doing the entire circle around the outside. And I'm going to go just a little bit up into some of the stems. But mostly it's just going to be just that outer circle. So I'm going to go ahead and do that really quickly. Okay, there's that one. And I'm also going to use another Tombow marker. So this is 526. I think this is the right one. I might hold off on that one for a second, because I thought I was going to do the blue around this part, but I think I'm going to hold off on this darker blue and use the pink that I have. So again, Tombow marker, but 772 this time. And I'm going to color this little scallop part all the way around the circle again. So I'll show you a little bit of that, and then we'll cut to it being done. So I'll talk to you again here in a second. Okay, got those two done around the outside. I think that's looking lovely. Now we're going to use an alcohol marker. I've got this Ohuhu marker. It is from my pastel set. So this is Y30. This is Lemon Chiffon. I'm going to use this on all the stars here. Just go through. And luckily, since this Johanna book is single-sided, I can use a few alcohol markers on these and not worry about bleed through. But typically on the Johanna books, I'm not going to be using alcohol markers because there is another side of the page that I would be wanting to color eventually. So, okay, I like that. We're going to set that aside. Let's go to some of the greenery. So I know a lot of my vines and stuff are going to be done with this Copic. So this is YG63. And like in all of my color alongs, you can use whatever you have that is semi-equivalent to what I have. So this is just a really kind of light grayish green. And this is going to go on all of the like the stems sort of, and like some of the viney bits, but not necessarily on all of the leaves. I'm going to do some of the leaves a little bit differently. So I don't want to do all of the leaves with this color, but I really do like this color a lot. It's a very nice color. Okay. All right, I like that. So we're going to work on the outside pieces first. I do want to do a little bit, so I have like this mustardy yellow color that I do want to do this little bird in. So I'm going to go ahead and get that guy done. Just the outside feathers, and then we'll color his tummy a little bit differently. I do want to use this light purpley blue color on something, and I don't know what yet. Oh, I know that I want this purpley color on the flowers. So this is V30, again from my Ohuhu pastel set, and I want these bell flowers to have this color on it. And I'm going to kind of taper it off. So I'm going to use a colorless blender as well at the ends to kind of blend it out. So I can flick the color with the marker and then use my colorless blender and soften that right up. I'm going to do the same on the flowers on the bunny too. Couldn't find quite the right purple in the markers that I wanted, but when you combine it with the colorless blender, you can get a nice variation in tone. Okay. Then we'll start working on some leaves, and yeah, that's what we'll do next. So I'll be right back with you. Okay, so we got that marker work done. We're going to do a little bit more marker work. I have this Zig Brushables pen. This is from the pastel set. So this is a really, really light blue, kind of purpley blue color. And I'm going to use that on these leaves that are almost flower-like. I'm trying to figure out exactly how I want to do this. I think I just want to add some color in like this. And I'm probably going to come in with like a cream pencil and add in color that way. So I'm just kind of flicking the color in. And it's not perfect, but this is just to get some color on the page. I might go over the outside edge with this darker color too that's on here, just to give it a little bit of contrast. But I don't want anything on this page to be super dark. I want it to all be kind of very light and soft and really similar to that illustration that I was inspired by to start this page. So yeah, so let me work on these leaves here a minute, and then we'll come back and work on something else. All right, I am also going to come back in with the purple that I used on the flowers, and I'm going to use that on these little bits of vines that are up here. A lot of the times when you are using different colors, like multiple different colors, if you spread the colors out around the page, that really helps. And I really like to have my colors hit at least 3 different locations on the page. That's a little trick that I learned when I was scrapbooking and card making and stuff, to spread out the embellishments and the colors into like 3 different areas, usually in a triangular fashion, like so they're not right next to each other. So you'll notice this isn't exactly, but you've got your purple down here, a purple here, and now a purple up here. So you've got that color kind of everywhere so that it doesn't look weird that there's just like one color of something here. Now it's going to be a little difficult with the blue because I don't really know where else I want the blue yet. But like on these leaves for sure, those ones are going to have some blue. Yeah, we'll see where else the blue shows up. I don't know. But yeah, all of these bigger ones are going to get some blue, and then maybe we'll have some blue on the tips of these other ones. So yeah, let me do that, and then I will talk to you again here in a second. Okay, I feel like I need to have blue over here somewhere, but I don't really know where at this point. We're going to add some blue into this flower, and I'm just going to do a little bit with the brush tip, just right over top of the purple that we put in. And I don't even know if that'll register, but it kind of blends the 2 colors at least together so that things will mesh a little bit better. Okay, so let me think about this now. Yeah, I think we'll grab some pencils. I'm going to grab some pencils and we'll get to work on some of the greenery around the outside, and then we'll work on the rabbit here in a minute. But yeah, let me grab some pencils for the leaves. All right, I've got my greens. I really love this set of greens right here. So this pale sage, sap green, and Kelly green, that's going to go really well with what I've got on here already. So we're going to start with those. I'm going to zoom you in so you can see what I'm doing here. Hang on just a sec. Okay, so I have, like I said, I have the sap green, or I'm sorry, pale sage green, sap green light, and the Kelly green. Then I also have the Prussian green if I want to add a little bit more darkness, and the peacock green if I need any more shadowing. But I think I'll probably be okay with the 3 that I have. I am going to put this in a holder since it's a little smaller so I don't hurt my hand trying to mess with things. Okay, so for these leaves here, just very simply just going to add in a little bit of a darker area in the center. Then we'll go with the lighter and we'll blend that out with the next lightest. And then blend it all the way out with the lightest. And I can add another layer if I want to that, just to vary the color a little bit between the leaves. It doesn't have to be the same on each one. But yeah, you just kind of want that center area to have the darker bits, and then I'm going to use the darker color to go around the outside, and that is pretty much it for these kind of leaves. So all of those leaves will be done the same way. So I'll show you again one time. So we're just gonna, it's almost like a really skinny V. And then we'll blend, you blend outwards from there using your lighter colors. So I always start with the darkest and then work my way to the lightest. And if I feel like I need to kind of adjust things, I can come back in and blend things a little bit more. All right, and then we'll do the outline of that one. And this Kelly green really goes well with the marker color that I have already picked, so I won't need to be doing a whole lot of blending on that. I will be using this Prussian green, however, to add in a little bit of shadow on some of these vines where things are overlapping. Yeah, so that'll have a little bit of shading on it, just like that. And then the tiny leaves, I think I'm going to start with the Prussian green, and I'll do just like a little tiny ball of color, and then I'm going to use the sap green light, so not quite as light as the other one, but still lighter, and blend it out. So again, just like a little ball of color at the base of the leaf, and then blend it out from there. Yep, I think that's how it's going to be. And then I might bring in, like I said, the cream color. I do have another cream as well. But to add in a little bit of warmth here and there, I'll bring in the cream just to give it a little bit more warmth instead of just a stark white. Okay, so that's the plan for those leaves, and I will kind of let that sit. I'm going to use the Prussian green on all of these little tiny bits that are coming off the side of the vine. Like that. Probably the same color palette for all these leaves, like around the outside edge. We'll be using the same thing. So I'm just going to go ahead and take care of these vines, and we'll come back and work a little bit on these two leaves, and I'll show you what I'm going to do with those. But let me go ahead and take care of these really quick, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so we have these little blue leaves here. I'm going to add in a little bit of green. So I'm going to start with the sap green light. And I'm just going to kind of flick some color in this way too. So towards the blue. Bring in the Prussian blue or Prussian green. Add a little bit darker color in, and then blend the two a little bit with some cream color. Do the same on the other one. Okay, and then I'm also going to bring in a blue now. So I've got that really light blue and these blue slate, blue, slate gray ones are really good blues. But then I also have a couple in here if I wanted to get any darker blues. I'm thinking Let's just try this periwinkle and see how that goes. All right, got the periwinkle, and then I'm just going to add a little bit of color along the edges of that leaf. Just like that, just a little bit. Okay, so there we go. Those are those leaves. Probably going to use kind of the same, some of the same color palette. Well, I will be using the same color palette for this, but let's do one of these big leaves, because I know I just did those with the flowers, but now you can kind of see how I'm planning to add in the green as well. So I'm going to use the periwinkle to add in shadow. So we'll just do this big one here, and then you guys can kind of go off and do the others on your own. So again, just adding some darker bits at the tips of the flower leaf thing, all the way around. Okay, and then I'm also going to do it from the center. So I'm just going to kind of there we go. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and sharpen this again just because I want it nice and sharp for this part. So I'm going to, that might be too sharp. I'm going to flick the color towards the inside of the leaf. And then kind of add just a little bit darker around the edge there. So you can see that. And then for this center part, we're going to start with the Kelly green. And again, kind of doing like a flicking motion. Then we'll use the sap green light. And then I'm going to bring that color out into the other area a little bit. And then we're going to use the cream color as like the go-between. Go ahead and bring in a little bit of that Prussian green too, just at the very center. But there we go. That's going to be kind of how all of those leaves turn out. So let me do another one just to show you. You know what, I'm going to start with the Prussian. Just do a few strokes with the Prussian. Then I'll switch to the sap green. Then I'll switch to the Kelly green, and then I'm switching to the sap green light. I'm kind of ignoring that little line that's right there for now. And then I'm just going to flick color towards the inside of the leaf. And then give it a little bit of more shading right on the edge. Okay, so I'm going to do that on all of these leaves and the rest of these, and that'll be basically those leaves done. All right, I'm also going to add in this peacock blue, just a little bit, again, right. Nope, that's not the right one. I need to grab a different blue. We'll use this indigo blue, so that's PC 901. And that's just to really define the little shadow area right here at the tip of the leaf. Okay, so yep, I'm going to do the rest of these leaves and I will be right back with you. All right, so I've got my Parma Violet here and I'm just going to add just a little bit of shading to these little vines. So I'm just adding just a little line through the center. Not a ton of shading on these guys. Okay, and then kind of the same thing over here. Just gonna do a line right up the center of the vine here. And then out from there into the little leaves. So it's just a little effort, but it really does kind of give you some nice effects. Okay. So I think I figured out where I'm going to put the other blue. So I do have blue on the rabbit, but I'm also going to put some blue into these leaves. So let's work on these leaves over here for a second. I'm still using the same color, all the same colors. So we're going to start with, I'm going to bring in, actually I'm going to bring in another color. I'm going to bring in blue slate, which is really close to this marker color here. And I'm just in like one little area. I'm just going to add a little bit of that on each of these bigger leaves. And that'll kind of be like the highlight area, I guess. And then I'm going to take the sap green light and kind of surround that with color. And then we're going to go to the Kelly green. And then the Prussian. And that's just going to be in the darkest areas. And I'll probably end up doing the Prussian around the outside of the leaf too. But yeah, so, and then I'm going to do another layer of each of those. So that blue slate color, the sap green light, the Kelly green, and then the Prussian. Okay. Yep, and then we're gonna do, you know what? I'm just gonna use the Kelly green again for these, the outline of the leaves. But I'm gonna use the Prussian to add in some shading. So we'll do a little bit there, a little bit at the tip there. Bring that Kelly green all the way around. And then anywhere where things overlap, again, you're going to want to add in a little bit of that Prussian green just to give it a little bit of shading. Okay, I feel like this needs some more, so I'm going to add in just another Prussian layer there. And then I'm also going to take the Prussian and just go right along the border of the leaf, or the center line of the leaf, I should say. Sorry, not the border. The center line of the leaf, and then a little bit on the edge there. Okay, so there's just like that little touch of blue in the center. And it kind of just looks like it's part of the leaf. And then again, if you want to warm it up at all, you can add in a little bit of the cream, and that will just kind of warm up the whole leaf a little bit. So let's do this one again. I've already got that first layer down. So we'll do another layer of the blue slate, another layer of the sap green light, another layer of the Kelly green, and then the Prussian. Okay, yep, and let me do the outside of this one really quick. Okay, and now I'm just finishing up with a little bit of the ivory to blend it together. And there is our other leaf. So on these little guys that are going up this way, I'm gonna leave the blue out of these and just probably focus with these two colors. So the Prussian green and, well, no. Let's see how this goes. We're gonna do the Prussian green. No, I'm sorry. The Kelly green, that's what I meant to say, around the outside edge and through the center. Then we'll use the sap green light. Is that what I want? Nope, I don't like the sap, or the pale sage, so I do want the sap green light, I think. There we go. And then the Prussian is just going to be at the tip of these. All right, sorry, I'll do another one. So we've got the Kelly green, and that's going to go all the way around the outside and up through the center. We'll use the sap green light to color outwards from there. And a little bit of the Prussian right at the tip of that leaf. I'm going to use a little bit of cream just to blend, make sure everything's nice and good. Okay, so that's what those leaves going up that way are going to look like, and I'm just going to go ahead and do that really quick, and then I'll be right back with you. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use some dark brown, so it's PC 946. I'm just going to add in shadows. So anywhere where things overlap on the branch here, I'm going to be adding a little bit of shadow. So it's, you know, hardly noticeable, but it will add a little bit of depth to the circle. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to also add in highlights with my white Prismacolor. So I'm just going to add in a little bit like along the outside edge of this. Maybe just a little bit more color on the inside edge too, but I'm not pushing hard here. This is just going to give it a little bit of a boost so that it looks like it's like more of a 3D element instead of just a flat little 2D drawing. Yeah, so I'm going to do that all the way around, and I will be right back with you. Okay, I did want to come back and show you at the bottom. I'm going to change it up a little bit. So once I get to the sides here, I'm going to start then doing this darker color along the bottom of the branch instead of along the top. And the nice thing is since I did this with marker, I can come back in and add this white highlight. If I had done that all with pencil, I would not be able to get this little added detail in. So that's why sometimes I like to use my markers. And this was the water-based marker, so you can see it still works. Now it's a really subtle touch, and it doesn't do a whole lot, but it does some, and I really like it. Okay, I'm also going to take care of this right now because it's driving me crazy. So you can see I've tried to erase this multiple times. It's not coming off. So I did something enough that it is not. So first I'm going to color over it with my white Prismacolor. Then I'm going to color over it with my white Posca. And if I have to do that multiple times to get rid of it, I will, but for now, it's pretty much gone. Okay, I'm going to zoom you out just so you can kind of see where we're at and where we're going to go next. Hang on a second. Okay, here's where we're at so far. I think it's looking pretty. We're going to work on the rest of the leaves down here and these little flowers, and then we'll start on the rabbit. Yeah. And then all the leaves that are in here are going to be done exactly the same way as I did these blue leaves and these little blue leaves. So these ones and these ones will be the same, and these 3 here and these ones are going to be the same. So if you want to do those for homework, you can absolutely do that. Yeah, so let's zoom in on these guys and we'll work on these leaves and the flower here, and then yeah, and then we'll see where we're at time-wise. These holly leaves, again, I'm going to use my Prussian just to add a little bit of shading, and that's just going to go on the very tips of these leaves. Again, I'm going to do it where I do like a couple of the leaves, and then I'm going to go off and do the rest on my own. Give a little bit of shading in the center there. So that's going to be the outsides done. The insides are going to be, that's just going to be greens this time. Probably a little bit of the cream mixed in too, though, because that's my blender throughout the entire thing so far. So it's just going to be better if I do it that way. Okay. Let's start with the Prussian. We're going to do the Prussian along this center line. And then we're going to shade out just a little bit at the base here. And then we're also going to do the Prussian along the sides. And again, shade out just a little bit from that. Okay, and then I'm going to switch to the Kelly green and just blend that out a little bit. And then we'll switch to the sap green light again and blend that out some more. And then the cream. I'm not going to push hard with the cream yet. I will once I get everything kind of on here. I'm going to do another layer of each of the colors. So we've got Prussian, we've got Kelly, and then the sap green light. And then the cream is going to be our blender. Okay, I am going to do just a little bit of Prussian in the corners here. Just a tiny bit. But yeah, so that's what these leaves are going to look like here. So that's not really hard. These little leaves that kind of go off this way, we'll start with the Prussian. Just going to trace these little lines that are in there, and then use the sap green light to fill in the leaf, and then some cream over top, and that'll be that. And if leaves, you know, overlap, you want to use the Prussian to add a little bit of shading. Okay. Yeah, so let's work on the flowers. But again, since I already have that nice green base, let me get these sharpened a little bit. My sharpener broke while I was recording a bit earlier, so now I have to hand sharpen all of these, which is not a big deal. This little Statler circular sharpener, these guys are great. I love them. All right, so I'm just going to add a little bit of shadow to this side of the leaf. and blend things out. So that was Prussian and then Kelly green. And then this is basically the same thing. So I'm just using the Kelly green now. To add a little bit of shading. And then when the leaves pop out, I'm going to add a little bit of Prussian in there too. Just to give it a little depth. So that's not hard. That's not a lot. Okay, I'm going to use the sap. Nope. I'm going to use the white. The white's going to give me a little bit of a brighter highlight on the top of that leaf. There we go. So got the Prussian here. So I'm not really coloring the whole thing in. I'm like giving depth to one side of this little vine. I hope you can see that. I'll hold it up closer to the screen once I'm done with this part, but I hope that you can kind of see that it wasn't just like I didn't fill the whole thing in. And then I'm going to use the white just on the top of that. I guess I could use the cream too. Like the cream would be all right. Since I've been using the cream for everything else. I'll warm up that highlight a little bit. Yeah, I might use the white and then the cream. Just so I can make sure that I do get a little bit of a highlight on where I want it. Okay. So yeah, that is my plan for these big flowers. Yep, so I'm going to do this one the same way and then go off screen and finish up the rest of these leaves and then we'll be back. Okay, and then for the flower, again with the Parma Violet, I'm just going to flick in a little bit of darker color at the end. And again, reinforce that little bit of blue that's in there too with the blue slate. I'm going to use the cream to flick upwards into that a little bit. There we go. And that's it for the color on that. So, and then these little berries, I guess. I have this pink sparkly Posca that I'm going to use. I don't get to use this very often, so I was very excited that it kind of went with the color palette. So I'm just going to color those in, let it dry, and then I'll add a little bit of a highlight to those as well. Okay. All right, so I'm going to check my time and see where we are, but let me zoom you out so you can see. Okay, so here's where we're at the end of this part. I am going to break this up into two parts just to make sure that these aren't super long videos. But I like the way this is going so far. Well, not tomorrow, but the next video will have the rest of the work on the greenery on the rabbit and the hair, the fur on the rabbit. We'll do a little bit more work in the background, add some shading to this pink area. We'll probably add in just a little bit of pencil shading around the outside edge just to make it a little softer, and add in a little bit of blue touches down here to make this snow look snowy. But then we'll be done. Yeah, so next time when we are here, we'll finish this up. But I really like the way this is going so far. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. And until next time, I'll see you later.